How manipulative people use guilt to control you. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling like you did something wrong, even when deep down you knew you were only trying to protect yourself? Maybe you said no. Maybe you asked for space. Maybe for the first time, you chose your own peace over someone else's demands. And somehow, you ended up feeling like the bad person. That is how guilt-based manipulation works. It does not always come with shouting. It does not always come with threats. And that is exactly what makes it so dangerous. Some of the most controlling people do not force you with power. They control you with discomfort, with disappointment, with silence, with sadness carefully placed in your hands, until you start carrying emotions that were never yours to begin with. At first it feels small, a change in their tone, a quiet wow after you set a boundary, a long pause meant to make you question yourself. A sentence like, "I guess I just care more than you do," or, "Fine, do whatever you want." Or the classic one, "After everything I've done for you," and just like that, the conversation is no longer about your boundary. It is about your guilt. That is the trick. Manipulative people understand something most kind-hearted people do not realize soon enough. Guilt is one of the easiest emotions to weaponize. Because good people want to be fair, they want to be kind. They do not want to hurt anyone unnecessarily. And that beautiful part of you, your empathy, your conscience, your ability to care, can become the exact door manipulative people walk through. They know you are not cold. They know you think deeply. They know that after the conversation ends, you will replay every word in your head. So they do not need to overpower you. They only need to make you doubt yourself. And once you start doubting yourself, you begin doing their work for them. You explain more than necessary. You apologize for having limits. You abandon your own needs just to restore emotional peace. Not because you were wrong, but because guilt feels heavy and you want relief. That is why guilt manipulation is so effective. It turns your goodness into obedience. And the worst part is, it rarely looks evil in the moment. It can look like sadness. It can look like love. It can look like vulnerability. Sometimes it even looks like disappointment from someone who claims to care about you. That is why so many people stay trapped in these dynamics for months, sometimes years. Because they are not reacting to cruelty. They are reacting to emotional pressure disguised as pain. And when pain is involved, kind people hesitate. They tell themselves, maybe I am being too harsh. Maybe they're just hurt. Maybe I should be more understanding. Maybe this is my fault. But here is the question that changes everything. Why does your honesty always become their suffering? Why does your boundary always become a personal attack? Why does your need for peace immediately get translated into selfishness? Healthy people may feel disappointed sometimes. That is human. But healthy people do not punish you for having limits. They do not make you feel cruel for saying no. They do not turn every boundary into a courtroom where you must defend your right to breathe. Real care can survive your honesty. Manipulation cannot. That is one of the clearest signs. The manipulator is not upset because you were unfair. They are upset because your boundary interrupts their access. And when access has felt automatic for a long time, even healthy resistance can trigger unhealthy reactions. That is why guilt manipulation often sounds so personal. It is designed that way. It is not just about changing your decision. It is about making your decision feel morally wrong. So instead of asking, "What do I want?" you start asking, "How do I avoid feeling guilty? How do I avoid feeling guilty?" And once that happens, control has already begun. You stop living by truth. You start living by emotional consequences. You become easier to steer. This can happen in families, in friendships, in romantic relationships, at work. Anywhere there is an imbalance between one person's boundaries and another person's need for control. A parent who makes you feel ungrateful for becoming independent. A partner who acts wounded every time you need space. A friend who reminds you of everything they did for you the moment you disappoint them. A boss who makes loyalty feel more important than well-being. Different setting, same pattern. Your freedom is slowly replaced by guilt. And guilt, when repeated long enough, changes you. It makes you second-guess your instincts. It makes simple decisions feel emotionally expensive. It makes boundaries feel like betrayal. It teaches you to confuse self-protection with selfishness. That is the real damage. Not just that someone controlled you, but that they taught you to participate in your own control. And healing from that takes time. Because even after the manipulator is gone, the guilt often stays. You still hear the old script in your head. You still feel that pressure in your chest when you disappoint someone. You still want to over-explain. Still want to soften your truth. Still want to make yourself smaller so no one feels bad around your boundaries. But healing begins the moment you see the pattern clearly. Guilt is not always proof that you did something wrong. Sometimes, it is proof that you finally stopped doing what someone expected. That feeling in your chest, that tension after saying no, that fear of being misunderstood. It does not always mean you are cruel. Sometimes it means you are changing. Sometimes it means you are learning that peace has a price. And the price is often disappointing people who benefited from your lack of boundaries. That does not make you bad. It makes you free. So the next time someone responds to your honesty with guilt, stop and watch carefully. Do they want understanding? Or do they want control? Do they respect your boundary? Or do they punish it emotionally? Do they care about your well-being? Or only about your availability? Because the people who truly value you may not always like your boundaries, but they will not weaponize your conscience to erase them. And the moment someone makes you feel guilty for protecting your peace, pay attention. That feeling may not be a sign that you are wrong. It may be the first sign that you are finally standing where they